All right, everyone. I think we'll go ahead and get started. Um, Thank you all for being here today. And many of you have been in our previous meetings, but for those of you who haven't, every month we do a monthly ward meeting, typically in community centers. And, with COVID-19, I think this is our sixth one that we've now done monthly via Zoom. So we've worked out most of the kinks, but still working on it. Just logistically, I've muted everyone at the start so that there's no crosstalk or anything like that. I'll go ahead and just give a little bit of update on things from the city perspective, and then we'll have Dr. NJ Akbar from the school board talk a little bit about the schools. I know there's a lot going on with our schools. Greg Trask from the Northwest Akron Library will give an update on the library, and then we'll turn it over to a number of city folks who we have here on the call, who are going to talk about the new water meter program, and then we'll have some discussion. So without further ado, we'll get into it. Many of you have seen the newsletter, the monthly newsletter that we've done, but I'm just going to go over a couple things that were in there. For City Council is off in August. We don't meet for meetings on Mondays, but we still are answering phone calls and emails, or attempting to. And we are preparing, for getting ready in September. In September, we are going to be starting a new special committee of council called Reimagining Public Safety. And this is obviously in response to the protests and the discussions we've had about systemic racism locally and nationally. And it's really exciting because it's actually a kind of something that council really hasn't done before, which is we're going to have 4 different working groups on different parts of this issue, because it's a huge issue, the topic of policing and public safety. And 3 members of council are going to be in each of these 4 working groups. And so one's going to be about prevention and community policing. Another is going to be about personnel and training. Another is going to be about accountability and oversight, and I'm co-chairing that one. And then a 4th one is going to be about data and technology. And the goal is to spend a couple of months having public meetings and talking about these issues in depth and researching these issues in depth, and then issuing a report, having some meaningful proposals that we put forward and start to implement, and then continuing in on that through next year as well. And so, I think it's exciting. It's daunting work. I'm trying to do my best to research and learn and study the different accountability systems we have and that they have in other cities, and that we can potentially expand on what we have here. We have an auditor, but anyways, there'll be more on that later. This also kind of dovetails with what's going on, obviously, in our community with regard to violence. We have seen, especially in the last few weeks, just a shocking and really tragic amount of violence, with a lot of shootings, and particularly shootings that have involved deaths of particularly young people. And this is, something that the cities across the nation are experiencing, and whether it's because of COVID or because of other causes is hard to tell, but it is something where we have, unfortunately, I think as of today, we have 34 murders, which is higher than the entirety of last year. And so that's obviously very concerning. The very most basic thing that government does is provide safe communities. And it really, I think this summer and the discussions that we've had really call on us all to talk about how do we create safe communities, because the status quo is unacceptable. The current situation is not working. And so I think we all probably might have different perspectives on how we do that, but we do have to find some new ways of creating safe communities. Here in Ward 8, we had a shooting last Tuesday on Hawkins, just south of Wiltshire. It was an incident where an underage girl had fired a weapon and was arrested for that, involved in a fight that had evolved from social media. This is a this is an incident that had happened 6 months before, relatively similar circumstances. And so I've been working with the Akron Police Department. I've talked to the prosecutor's office. I've talked to social service agencies. And we're going to try to engage the folks who live at that particular location and try to resolve this issue, because we have been lucky that there have been 2 shootings and no injuries, but it's a pretty clear danger to people's public safety, and everyone's safety. So that's sort of things on the policing and public safety side. We also have a new project that's going to be put in at Hardesty Park, down in the corner by Market Street. There's a little wooded area, and Keep Akron Beautiful and Akron Parks Collaborative in the city have identified a little bit of funding to put in some seating and some new shade and animal attractants. And so what we've done is put together a survey to get community feedback about what you'd like to see there. And so I've just sent that survey out in the chat. If you have a chance over the next few days, please fill that out. Hardesty Park is really an amazing park. There's so much to do there. But we'd really love to see community feedback about how we can make it a more inclusive space that everyone can enjoy. There is a development that the city is looking to put in on Tice Road off of Akron Peninsula Road in the Merriman Valley. There's 45 acres off of Tice Road that the city owns, and the city has started an RFP process to potentially sell. I wrote a decent amount about this in the newsletter, and also there's an article that Crane's Cleveland Business published. We're talking more about it. I think that we'll see what proposals come in about residential development. And I think, we obviously have to be very cognizant of the environmental impacts and not sort of overdeveloping the valley. Cuyahoga Falls is also engaging in similar projects. But also, we need to take an overall approach to the valley, right? And I've said this, I think, to many of you before. We have to look at what we're building in the valley more than just a one-off project. And so there's a master plan for the valley with Cuyahoga Falls and the city of Akron that we had hoped to move forward on this past spring. Because of COVID, we didn't. But now with this new development, I've begun, reaching out to folks, and I think hopefully we're going to have this master planning process, because the valley is a lot of things, a lot of great things. Well planned is not one of them, right? And so that's something where, again, community input is going to be really important. I'm going to put the newsletter in the chat so that if you want any more detail on the things that I'm mentioning, you can look there, and there, so you have it. The final thing I want to mention is resurfacing. There's been, I think most of the streets that are going to be resurfaced in Ward 8 were over the past week. Portage Path, a couple of them here in Parkway Estates, I believe Zahn Drive, Tremont, Goodhue, and there's one or two others, Judith. Anyways, I think by and large they look great. The number of streets that we did is down from last year, but it's still higher than before issue 4. COVID really put a pretty big dent in city finances. It has so far, but I'm still glad we were able to do some resurfacing. So with that, I just want to open it up in case there are any questions about any of those things I mentioned. And before we turn it over to NJ to talk about the school. So if anyone has a question about the things I mentioned, you can either raise your hand and I'll unmute you, or you can put it in the chat right here. Elizabeth, one moment. Go ahead.
I just wanted to thank you for that update on the shooting here in Ward 8. Obviously, that's of a concern. And I heard the mayor's talk yesterday with Police Chief Ken Ball, and I think we all have to keep our eyes and ears open. So thank you very much. That's
Thanks,
it.
Elizabeth.
Wasn't a question.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. This is a situation where, there's a lot of information. We see these articles every day in the newspaper, and it's a very complex issue. Safety generally is a very complex issue, and it relates a lot to a lot of these upstream things like education and transportation and social services and healthcare. And so it's not simple, but I think that you know, I think that, if there's, I think we have an opportunity to all learn more. I mean, I thought I understood it pretty well from working in the city law department and starting in council, but I've learned so much just in the past few weeks. I think we can all continue to do that. I've been trying to share as many resources as I can, and I'm going to continue to do that as we go through the reimagining public safety process. Okay, so with that, I am going to turn it over to Dr. NJ Akbar from our Akron School Board, and he is going to give an update. Obviously, a lot of things going on with our school board with back to school, in flux, and then also the news yesterday that David James, our superintendent, is going to be stepping down, I think, at the end of this coming year. After 12 years as superintendent, 30 years with the district. So I think I didn't know all the things that were going to happen on city council in the first 7 months of my term, but I think NJ has that's been doubly true for him as they now look to get a new superintendent. So NJ.
All right, you're definitely right on that. But I think we've been definitely, as a board, able to come together and make some what I believe community-based decisions that are going to be the best for all of us. No one asked for COVID-19, and I'm sure each and every one of us, if we could, we would give it back and mark return to sender. If there was any possible way we could do that and get back to lives as we knew it before, and schools as we knew it before. And so we are going to be virtual for at least the first 9 weeks. We'll be doing remote learning in a way that's more structured than it was when we were forced to do it overnight in the spring. And so students will have what's called pods, which is recommended by the CDC, and will be connected that way in smaller learning communities. But they will have a structured schedule with different classes that they go to. And so if at any point we are able to meet back in person and start sending our students into the buildings, they'll have the same schedule that they'll be able to work with in those smaller learning communities. Our number one priority at the Board of Education for our schools is the health, wellness, and safety of not only our students, which is paramount, but also the staff that work for us, and even each and every one of you who have kids, grandkids, nieces or nephews, if you are uncle or auntie, and you have students in our district. We are putting you as our number one priority. In order to do so, remote learning was necessary, so that's one thing we did. And now, recently, we made the decision to delay sports activities for the first 9 weeks of the semester. We have gotten a lot of feedback, especially from this community and outside of this community, for sports that happens right there in Firestone. And so one of them is the FAST team, which is a non-APS team that's athletic, that performs, that competes across the country. And so we are proud of the team and what they do. However, we are looking at all of our extracurricular activities and anything that happens inside of our buildings as a critical, important point when we consider health and wellness. And so we talked about it again at our retreat this weekend. We didn't make any further decisions because we were waiting on, the superintendent wanted to get the recommendation from the governor, as well as any other updated recommendations from athletics before making another recommendation that was counter to what he made previously, which was to delay sports activities. So we meet on Monday, so that may be a topic that we discuss again. I can't guarantee that there will be another vote or a different vote that occurs on that. The other thing is Summit County Public Health has sent us a recommendation as far as sports and activity and extracurricular activities, both low contact, low risk, and other sports, to delay them all until October 1st. And so that's the minimum that we're doing. Also, at our retreat this past weekend, shifting topics a little bit, we found out about the retirement plans of our superintendent. We were already going through a process of, with his help and the others in the administration's help, to think through what is the next level vision for APS. And so we're drafting that currently. We have a draft done. We're going to continue to work on that, and hopefully within the next month, we will unveil the vision for APS for the next 3 to 5 years there. The other thing is, the last thing I'll say is we're continuing to work on equity. Equity is becoming a major cornerstone of what we're doing and the lens in which we use for the decisions that we make, as well as the policies that we are making. And so as we get more into that area, I will have more to report to you on that as well. With that being said, I'll be open to any questions and comments that anyone has.
How
Okay.
do you provide the kids that doesn't have the internet access the first 9 weeks, since it's going to be all virtual?
That's a great question, Amy. Thank you for asking that. Anyone who knows me knows broadband access is a big concern of mine, as COVID-19 has really exacerbated the disparities of connectivity in our community. And so we have already purchased, I think it was 1,200 hotspots, and we are also paying for that monthly for students who need it. And so if you need it, Carla Chapman is the person that you would contact, and I'll actually put her, after I finish speaking, I'll put her contact information in the chat there. You can also just go to any of your schools and let the principal know that you need it, and they'll connect you with that as well.
NJ, I think I missed last month's Zoom board meeting, but the last one that I was on, you had indicated that there's a possibility the schools were going on the ballot in November. Is that happening?
Thank you for asking that, Elizabeth. I'm sorry I did not mention that, but we did vote a few meetings ago to delay consideration for November's ballot for the schools. We wanted to be very certain that we let our community know that there is a great need to support our schools. However, we also understand that our people, our neighbors, people are hurting today, and we want to let them know that we hear them, and we're going to look for alternative ways to reduce our spending and expenditures, while also looking at how do we move that campaign forward in the future. So we did at our retreat talk about the possibility of doing it in May of 2021. At that point, it is definitely going to be necessary, as we run out of funds in the next year and a half, and we don't want to do that. We don't want to be operating in the red.
Thanks.
Thank you. I see Christina has her hand up. I don't know how to do anything.
I got it. Thank you. I have a question about tutoring.
Mhm.
Will there be after-school tutoring available for students? And if not, is APS open to maybe community, people that live in the community coming together and doing like volunteer tutoring to help students that are maybe struggling with certain subjects or what have you, like reading or something?
Yes, that's a great point, Christina. Thank you for pointing that out. We have worked with our district to think through tutoring and other educational assisting. And so we are in the structured schedule that I shared with you. There is a time between 3 and 6 p.m. where they can call a number or go onto our website and get additional assistance for tutoring. So there'll be people available that they can say, I need tutoring in math, and this is second grade. Here's my information, and then they'll get a tutor or ed assistant to contact them. So right now we have put out there that there may be a need to offer some weekend hours. The district is exploring that as an option, but we don't have that yet. But I appreciate that you asked that question, and we do have something, and we're working on, are there other things we can do as well?
Okay.
What do you think of the movements of learning pods by parents?
All right, so I was just the suggestion for Christina's takeaway. I've got 3 small kids myself, and my fiance is a doctor, and she's got high anxiety. So we've been on lockdown since March a lot. So our children are going to do the online piece as well and follow the curriculum at the school. But just a suggestion, we've actually looked at that Nextdoor app, and we're actually bringing a teacher in for tutoring, outside the school, just a couple times a week to help the kids. And we've got some other families getting together with that. So I don't know if that helps or not, but maybe, the city and the schools only have so much funds, unfortunately. And it's just a suggestion, maybe look to some other kids in the class and see if you guys can come together and do that together. It might help some of the costs and stuff, because online versus in person with children, we all know is not good. I've got 2 kids, unfortunately, with ADHD, so it's even worse. So, we are where we are, but the safety factor, obviously, being what it is. I'm actually impressed with what some of the counties put out in the city of Akron and how they're handling the education piece. Medina County Health Director actually has made 0 stands, and that's caused a lot of issues with the schools there, with sports and stuff, because no one wants to take, doctor like the take on the athletics. If you're the person who has to make the call with athletics being canceled, and you're the only guy doing it or woman doing it, you can expect some signs in your front yard the next day. So it creates a lot of issues. But the kids come first, and that's just a suggestion. I just wanted to pass that on, because the kids, unfortunately, with the COVID situation, we don't want them left behind, and it does suck. So I just wanted to share that with the group. So.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah. Appreciate that. And to your comment in the chat about E-rate, as you probably know, that went away not too long ago, before we even knew COVID was a thing. And the state did create a grant that APS is applying for that will allow us a one-time pot of monies to support connectivity. So that is something that's out there that we are in the process of applying for, that will help pay for those monthly bills and other ways that things that we have coming up, bills that we have coming up that's related to connectivity that we can charge. Unfortunately, we already bought the 1,200 hotspots. So according to the grant, if you purchased it already, it's retroactive, but it will pay for the monthly bills, which will help us a lot financially.
Well, it looks like those are the questions we have, but really appreciate you being here, NJ. This is a nonpartisan area, but I did want to thank NJ because he happens to be a delegate this week to a political convention and made the time to still be here with us as he has been for the past few months. So I really appreciate that.
No problem. I appreciate you, and I love this community and love our children, and hope that we continue to keep them first in everything that we do.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Yep. So I'm now going to turn it over to Greg Trask from Akron-Summit County Public Library, who's just going to give us a quick update on how things are going over at the wonderful Northwest Branch Library.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you inviting me out. I just have a few things to go over. Most of you probably already are aware that the library has reopened to the public and people are able to come in. All of our services are available with the exception of our meeting rooms. Of course, patrons are required to wear masks. And for those people who are uncomfortable entering the library due to maybe health concerns, we still offer the outside pickup for those individuals. And also the first hour every Tuesday and Thursday is for people who are in at-risk categories. So we can get those individuals back into the building. We're starting up programs again. And when I get done talking, I'll post a link to on the library website where you can see all the different programs. We're gonna have speakers and book clubs and just try to get engaged with the community again, start offering services again. We're really looking forward to doing that. The library has also launched an automatic renewal service. So if you have materials that are due, they will be renewed automatically with some exceptions. The most important exception being if someone else already has a hold on that item. So it's something that you would have to monitor and make sure that if you're relying on that service that the renewal actually took place. And I can also post a link to the information on that. But other than that, things have been going really well at the library. Everybody, you know, coming in has been very friendly, and we're just really thankful to be able to start serving the community again. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask at all?
I really appreciate it, Greg. I know, you know, it was strange to be shut down over the summer, and I know that there have been a lot of things that the library has done with regard to, you know, like electronic resources. So, you know, I hope that things go well as, you know, you start to add back programming, and obviously looking forward to, you know, being there and seeing you. Yeah. Right now, I'm going to turn it over to Shelley Goodrich, who is our City Deputy Director of Finance. I would not want to have that job during a global pandemic, but Shelley is a pro, so she's been handling it well, and it really has, you know, the Finance Department has done a really awesome job of keeping City Council, keeping everyone up to date on how COVID is impacting things. But I wanted Shelley, and I believe we have Jerome McCall and maybe some other folks from our City Water Department to come in and talk about our new water meter system that City Council recently approved. Is a pretty big investment, but it really is a kind of you know, really huge upgrade and shift, and I think is going to be really great in terms of the service that's provided by the city in terms of, you know, water. So with that, I'll turn it over to Shelley.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shelley Goodrich. As Shama said, I am the Deputy Finance Director for the City of Akron. I started with the city last September in this role. I'd previously worked at the city in the law department. I like to refer to myself as a reformed attorney and went back to school for accounting. So much has happened in the last year. It's been a whirlwind, but one of our exciting projects that we've been working on is this meter implementation. It's going to touch every household in the city of Akron, and we're really excited about it. So I am here today with Jerome McCall, who's our team lead in our water distribution division, and he's going to go ahead and give you guys a little PowerPoint presentation, and then if you have any questions, we're here to answer for you. So with that, we'll go ahead and start the presentation.
Okay, Shelly, are you going to host my screen for me?
Well, I think Sean
I'm,
has the PowerPoint, Jerome. Sorry about that.
yeah, I'm opening it right now.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And while he's doing that, first off, I'd like to say thank you for the opportunity to present to you our meter modernization program. We're excited here at the city to be able to offer this. And so I really appreciate the time that you guys have allowed us to present this to you.
All right, I'm sharing it now. All right, can everyone see it?
Yes.
All right, great.
Okay, as you can see, this is the Akron Utility Customer Service Experience Enhancement and Modern Meterization Project. It encompasses quite a bit, so we'll go through these slides quickly and try to have some questions at the end there. Currently, Akron is using outdated technology that is nearing the end of useful life. Those technologies include our customer information system, which is over 20 years old and cannot provide the features and that the customers expect today. Our proactive customer insight, which includes leak detection, meter tampering, and cut wires. These are technologies that are more prevalent in the newer systems. We cannot experience those right now. They're non-existent due to the outdated software that we're currently using. The meter reading system is over 15 years old and requires that someone drives every meter location every month to collect a reading. This typically takes us right now about 18 to 20 business days to collect and read about 85,000 water meters. Most meters installed in the system are also approximately over 15 years old and are mechanical in nature, leading to potential inaccuracies. Our newer meters and the new system will be more of a solid state meter that has a lot greater accuracy and longevity. Next slide, please. We are in the process of installing a newly fully integrated system that will bring Akron into the present and prepare it for the future. Some of these features include a state-of-the-art customer engagement or customer portal system, a new and improved customer information and billing system, and a modern water metering fixed base network. Next slide. These systems will provide customers with features and benefits that are not available with our current systems. Some of these features include, but are not limited to, one, a web-based portal and mobile phone application for customers to have access and manage water usage 24/7. Two is a new modern payment options would be available. That could be more of the text alerts, bill reminders, and different alternate bill payment options. Number three is a customer early alert notification regarding potential leak and high usage based on actual hourly usage. This is one of our more exciting new offerings, a feature that will help alleviate spiked water bills resulting from toilet leaks and hidden leaks and things of that nature. Number four is text and email alerts with our new customer portal. This will allow us different ways to communicate quickly and more in real time with our customer base for various needs and responses. Number five is enhanced customer service features, reducing the need for customer appointments. One of the things that is a benefit of a fixed network system is that we can require and acquire on-demand readings for move-in and move-out opportunities. This will help to alleviate customers for wait times for appointment making. Number six is simplified billing units, gallons versus hundreds of cubic feet. Currently, right now, the city of Akron does bill in 100 cubic foot. If you don't know this, 1 cubic foot is 7.48 gallons. Therefore, 100 cubic feet is 748 gallons. And when you're looking at trying to put together granularity for leak detection and graphing, you can see where if you are doing that in 100 cubic feet, you would have to use a lot of water before you could actually visualize and see that you had more usage coming your way. There are many more features still to be worked out at this time. Next slide. What to expect? In late fall of this year, 2020, the project starts. We will get a ramp up, and this will be the beginning of our customer outreach program. Customers will receive mailing notifications, giving them all the details they need for appointment booking and also vehicle identification. Near the end of 2022, the meter reading network and the meter replacement will be complete. Customer schedules one-time meter replacement appointment with Akron's approved contractor. And as I said, those vehicles will be labeled, clearly marked, and that typical appointment would be an hour or less. In 2023, customer information and billing system replacement is completed. And this will give us new billing format. As I had mentioned earlier, we'll be billing in gallons, which will be a little bit more ease of use and understandability of the water bill, and the people will get new accounts. Next slide. Thank you. There will be no rate increase to fund this project. So we're happy to present that. No rate increase. Moving into the future, we have endless opportunities with this advanced bundle metering package. And at this time, I can open up for questions if you have any.
All right, Gwen.
How long is this system supposed to last us? How many decades?
This is set up for a 20-year life cycle.
Shelley, can you talk a little bit about the cost and how, you know, when we first got this, I had some sticker shock and I emailed Shelley and we talked a lot about it. So I just would like to hear, I think everyone would benefit from that.
Absolutely. This is a $40 million project. So it is, you know, definitely a costly project that we're embarking on. It's something that we've known about for many years. Like Jerome says, we know that these products have a certain useful life. When we installed the last meter reading project 15 years ago, we knew that it had a useful life, and we're nearing the end of the current system's useful life. So we've been preparing for this project. We've been adding to our fund balance and financially preparing to undertake this project. We also have applied for a water supply revolving loan fund from the Ohio Water Department, and we have a super low interest rate and will not begin making repayments until we're completed with implementation, which will be about 3 years. And it's a lower than 1% interest rate, and we will be paying it back over 15 years. So we have worked diligently to do this project, be fiscally responsible with the implementation, and picking a great vendor and doing it so that it will not lead to a rate increase. This project would not lead to a rate increase for our customers.
You know, one thing that I think is really important is that, you know, one thing the mayor says that I really appreciate is he often says, this is a customer service job. You know, city government is customer service work. And, you know, I think our utilities business office does, and our water distribution office do a really excellent job, but kind of sometimes their hands are tied by the software and the hardware. And when you can only read your water meter once a month in increments of 750 gallons, I mean, that is not a 21st century system. And what we're looking at now, where I can just pick up my phone and see what my water usage is for the last hour, I think that really is a quantum leap forward in terms of that. So anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. We actually had a preview of the portal. The capability that it's going to offer our customers is going to be fantastic. The ability to constantly monitor your water usage. You'll be able to set alerts. So if you, I know I have an issue with a running toilet. So if I leave my house and that toilet's running and I'm gone for a couple hours, I can get alerted that, you know, I have elevated usage at my home. Additional ways to pay, it's going to be much more customer friendly. I don't know if you guys have ever paid your Akron water bill on our website, but unfortunately our website is a little clunky and a little outdated. And so we're excited to modernize that and make it easier for customers to, you know, pay their bill in a streamlined manner. So we're very excited.
Any other questions that folks have for Shelley or Jerome? Jack? I think you're unmuted.
Yeah, am I?
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody must have done that for me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
You have 3 questions or so in the chat. Mine was, there's actually a study that the city administration has mentioned in the past about raising water rates beginning in 2021. And it's not for this, but it's to pay off things like those 40-year loans that you mentioned on the Akron Waterways Renewed. So my question was, how's that going?
My understanding is that that rate study is still ongoing, so it has not been completed yet. That's being really championed by the public service director. So I do know that that rate study is ongoing. I can tell you that the mayor and the city administration are taking any steps that they can, obviously, to lower the cost of the CSO program, the Combined Sewer Overflow program, and to hopefully mitigate, you know, future rate increases. But that rate study with Ref Telus is still ongoing.
Okay, that answers mine, but there's 3 or 4 others in the sidebar in the group chat if you want to look at those. Thank you.
So in terms of the, I'll take the recycling one.
Mm-hmm.
Our recycling program, like a lot of recycling programs around the country, is not in great shape. It's incredibly expensive to recycle. And, you know, you see situations where the city of Cleveland just started throwing recycling in the trash and not telling anyone. Well, we haven't done that in Akron. I had to send a really awkward email to our public service director when that happened saying, I promise this isn't happening in Akron. It's not. We have a local facility, and so that cost is not significant. But our recycling is, you know, often polluted with other things. And so that's where, you know, some of you may have received those recent tags from the inspectors who are going around in the grant-funded program to try to clean up the recycling. That really has improved the cost effectiveness. I think right now, everyone is set on maintaining our recycling system. Adding back glass and plastic bags, I don't know whether that's going to be feasible in the short term, because this is a system that we lose money on. But we are interested in keeping the system as it is now and not, you know, further cutting it and potentially expanding it. Shelley, do you want to tackle the one about the charges for the bill, and then Sean's question as well? Oh, sorry. Yep.
So, okay, so the one from Sean Baker.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, this computer system is not going to be able to lower your water bill. You know, as I'm sure you guys are aware, we're under a consent decree with the EPA. We've been mandated to do certain actions to reduce our sewer overflows, and we have taken every action to do that and lower those costs. But there is a cost, obviously, for redoing our sewer system so that we do not have those sewer overflows, which is the Akron Waterways Renewed portion of your bill, which is, you know, substantial. Like I said, the mayor's always looking. We're always talking to experts to try and determine if we can lower the cost of that program by also instituting new green technology as it's being developed, and what we can do. But ultimately, we have been mandated by the EPA that we have to do certain things to stop our sewers from overflowing into the rivers, and there is, you know, a large cost associated with doing so. So unfortunately, no. I wish the system would lower the cost, but unfortunately, we have to comply with that consent decree.
And there was also a question from Ron, why are we being charged for billing of the water bill when received electronically?
So that billing charge is, I believe it's $725 or $775 a month. There's a cost, an administrative cost associated to run a billing department and to be able to process and send bills. This is common in the utility industry. Shamus and I have actually gone back and forth on this. If you actually look at your Dominion bill, you're charged close to $25 in a billing fee from Dominion. So this is the cost of running that department, being able to generate bills, being able to print bills, to send them electronically. There's cost and infrastructure that's even associated with that. And so we have tried to keep that cost as low as possible to our customers, but unfortunately there is costs associated with issuing a bill. And if you look at your utility bills, you'll see that other utilities charge this as well, and it's normally embedded in the fine print. But yeah, so I actually pulled out my Dominion bill because somebody brought this up to me, I think in April, and I was like, oh, I'm being charged for all my utilities for a billing charge. And ours was the lowest of all those. So unfortunately, that is a charge that we do charge, but to be able to provide the level of service that we do to our customers.
Yeah. And then Jerome, do you have anything you want to add about the project? Is there any particular part of it that's most exciting from the water distribution side?
I think overall the meter modernization, and the reason why I say that is because we haven't been able to do a job as well as we would like to give our citizens and our customers tools that by which they can regulate their water usage. And so with these tools that we're going to be able to give them through this project, we can now give them the power to, like you had just said, you can on your mobile phone or your mobile device, you can set yourself up with just customized alerts, whether you want to receive a billing alert or a usage alert, and also you can contact us when you're going to go out of town and do what we call snowbird turnoffs and things like that. So these are a lot of features that we don't necessarily have right now. And if you look at, like you had mentioned, we're going to be obtaining over 720 readings per month. That's a lot of data. So with that, we'll be able to have analytics that'll give us the power by which we can help our customers, again, manage their water bills. We can also be proactive with our meter maintenance. We can also cut down on water theft, which also obviously helps to keep our rates stable. We can't do a good job of that right now because of the technology has limited us, but moving forward, we will certainly be able to hone in on that diagnostic. And also, I think moving forward for the city of Akron, this platform is more than just a metering adventure and also billing adventure, but also it'll allow us to move into more of a IoT platform where the city can layer on other edge devices. For instance, you can do parking meters, street lighting, things of that nature where, we can enhance a citizen's experience for various reasons, going to ball games, parking, things like that. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I'm excited just hearing you talk about it. Often I think, like Shelley, I was formerly in the city law department, and so we get to see a lot there. And a lot of times what I see in the city is departments that, because of the last few decades of budget cuts and of different things, are run on a shoestring. And so, then the hard decisions come in of what things do we want to invest in so that we can get to the level of service that we need to. And some things like the federal consent decree come in from above and come in from on high, and we don't have tie our hands. But sometimes it's hard decisions about whether to make a big investment like this, but I do ultimately think that this is warranted. So I appreciate you both being on here to speak about it. Before we let you go, Shelley, can you just speak briefly about how COVID has impacted city finances just on a kind of a general level?
Absolutely. So I'm sure that you guys are aware, but the April 15th deadline for taxes got pushed back to July. And as we were entering COVID, we were kind of anxiously monitoring our finances to see how this pandemic was going to affect our employee withholding as well as our individual and net profit filings. So employee withholding, employers, most large employers are required to remit the withholding the month after the employee works. So they're required to remit in May for what their employees worked, and they withheld in April. So things were not looking good, as I'm sure Shamus could tell you. Going into May, going into June, we really saw obviously a large decrease in our income tax. We started looking globally at our contracts, what we could cut internally, knowing that we are going to be facing our revenues not hitting our projections. So we started meeting with departments heads and going through and cutting as much as we could and from our budgets. We got into July, and that July 15th filing date came, and things are looking better. So right now we're only 1.5% down in our income tax, which is very good. It'll be interesting to see, though, as we continue through the year, whether that number can hold. And also looking at next year, I think this is going to have a lasting impact on our economy. We have never been through a global pandemic before, so it is really hard to project numbers. The closest thing we can do is really look at the recession of 2008, 2009 to try and come up with what we need to do to prepare, but we are working diligently at preparing. We have gotten some CARES Act dollars from Summit County as well as the state of Ohio, so we're going to be using those to kind of plug some gaps. So we are plugging along, but we're definitely seeing a decrease in revenues, decrease in income tax, decrease in gas tax. People aren't traveling the way they used to. They're not going to work. So casino, we get casino tax. We're not getting as much of that. The casinos were shut down. So we are seeing a decrease in our revenues across the board, but it's definitely become more positive once that July 15th filing deadline came and the income tax came in. So like I said, we're at a decrease of about 1.5% as of today. So we're hopeful that will hold, but we still have some holes to plug. So does anyone have any questions on that? All right.
I think at one point it was closer to 7%, and it's not a situation anyone wants to be in. But really appreciate that information and the presentation from both of you.
Absolutely. Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah. So if anyone has any final questions or any final comments or thoughts, it's obviously been a very eventful, summer. There's been a lot of stuff going on at the city level, the school board level, the county level, the state level, the federal level. I mean, it's been a very busy time. But happy to take any final questions or thoughts. I see that Sai, you had a point about recycling, and I'll get back to you on that. But any final thoughts from folks? Okay, looks like everyone is ready for dinner. So that's what I'm gonna do. You guys are welcome to do whatever you want to do. But I appreciate everyone being here. We're going to do this next month. Next month, I think we are going to have a special guest. So stay tuned on that aspect of it. But in the meantime, please reach out by phone or email if there's anything I can do. We're all here trying to help. The city is full of people like Shelly and Jerome who are trying to help out. So let's just make it through these next few months of COVID, and everyone have a nice day.
Bye.
Thank you.